Hey, so not really an opening bit, but I just wanted to show that they didn't use the right gun engravings for Scarborough Fair. Like, yeah, I know this is John's video, but oh my god, it's just really silly to me. Okay, sorry, on to the video. Hey everyone, welcome back so soon. I wanted to get this video done at least by the time of the release of Bayonetta 3, but let's just say some certain issues have been keeping me from making the video in a timely manner, so here we are, probably cutting it close. Jeanne's weapons are more than just recolors, even if that's what they look like, and play like. But they have their own fun lore and information that just make it worth reading about. So let's go through all of her weapons in Bayonetta 2. Although I already talked about All for One in the last video on Jeanne, I wanted to mention the very slight but noticeable change for them. All the attachments on the guns are small black cats dressed as musketeers. The one with the blue hat and orange feather is D'Artagnan. The one with the silver hat and red feather is Athos. The one with the green hat and blue feather is Porthos. The one with the blue hat and yellow feather is Aramis. Porthos is even more plump than the other cats because Porthos was the biggest of the three musketeers, so to speak. Now, regarding Nintendo weapons, I've only mentioned the Master Sword when talking in my first ever video, and also Chain Chomp in Bayonetta 2, but I never mentioned the R-Wing guns. The R-Wing guns are the weapon version of the R-Wing from Star Fox. Normally, you can't see its description, but it is in the files of the game, and it goes: a space gun Rodin staked his reputation on developing. Using Starfighter plans obtained from a few secret connections, it showcases the latest advances in science and the wicked arts. While the R-Wing does not contain demons like those found in typical infernal weapons, it seems to be housing something inconceivable. This makes it a particularly difficult gun to control that must be used with a specially made suit in order to release its true potential. The R-Wing guns change the coloring of the punch and kick attack effects to green for both Bayonetta and Jeanne. The lock-on kiss is replaced by a square that is reminiscent of the reticles in the Star Fox series. When holding down the gun button, you can shoot a green charge shot. When Bayonetta or Jeanne is wearing the Star Mercenary outfit, in-game Jeanne is also wearing the uniform. Also, the Assault Jet is replaced with an R-Wing. Even in the Jet Fighter Assault verse, the Assault Jet combat changes completely into R-Wing combat, complete with the directions referencing this with new names of the maneuvers. Also, you may think that Jeanne's outfit is a reference to Falco, but considering her name tag also says Fox on it, and you know, the ears and tail, it may be a reference to Fox on the box art of Star Fox for the SNES released in 1993, where he is orange instead of green. The charms on the guns are Team Star Fox. The leader of Team Star Fox, Fox McCloud, ace pilot Falco Lombardi, advisor and original founding member of the team, Peppy Hare, and inventor and mechanic Slippy Toad. Compared to Bayonetta's Rakshasa, Jeanne's Rasetsu is essentially the same in style, with the main difference being the color of the hilt is silver to match Jeanne's style. The description for Rasetsu goes: a mesmerizing sharp-edged pair of swords that seal the goddess of destruction and ruin, Rasetsu. When a female has these weapons in her hands, demonic energy causes her power to increase tenfold and can send lost souls away from this world to where they belong. Rasetsu are what Rakshasas are referred to in Japanese. Rakshasa are usually malevolent demigods featured in the Hindu religion, but because Rasetsu is a Japanese term, it's most likely to be associated with Buddhism. Here is Rakshasa depicted as a single deity, with this art coming from 12th century Japan in the Heian period. Here is another art from around that time in the same period of Rasetsu 10 as one of the 12 devas of the Vajrayana tradition. Samsa is Jeanne's version of Kafka. It is colored with a scarlet color scheme as opposed to Kafka's green color. The description for Samsa goes: a bow containing the soul of a man who was transformed into a poisonous insect, disowned by his family, and cast into the depths of Inferno. The bugs decorated across this bow are all alive and constantly producing deadly toxins. Those struck by arrows from this bow will be susceptible to sicknesses of all kinds. The name Samsa comes from the German novella written by Franz Kafka, where a salesman named Gregor Samsa wakes up and finds himself turned into a monstrous vermin. The opening line is a source of much debate, but most people agree that Gregor is an insect. It's pretty sad to think about Gregor's fate to be such a hard-working person to take care of his family, only for them to all turn on him after the initial shock. Even his sister, who at first fed him, stopped caring about him, and was the first to bring up getting rid of it. Her words. Gregor decides to kill himself by starvation after realizing he isn't wanted anymore. I guess I understand not wanting to see him like that because it's so gross, but it really feels sad. I will say, however, unlike the description, Gregor wasn't poisonous, or at least I don't think he was, since no one ate him and died. The word poisonous means to contain poison within that is unloaded when you eat them, whereas venomous means to be able to poison using a bite or sting. Humorously, or not humorously, depending on how you feel about what I just said, rereading the descriptions for both Kafka and Samsa, you could say Kafka is the one who cursed Samsa both in-game because of the descriptions, and in real life since the author is the one who wrote Samsa's fate, as all authors do to their characters. Inferno Slayer is Jeanne's version of Chernobog. Inferno Slayer has a green-colored snath as opposed to Chernobog's, which is dark magenta. It also has a more silver-colored heel. The description for Inferno Slayer goes, a scythe used by a sage to hunt demons who wandered into human villages. His merciless killing of demon after demon earned him the name Inferno Slayer by the villagers. At first they praised him, but eventually they grew afraid of his power and expelled him from the village, no longer remembering him as a protector. No one knows what happened to the sage after he was expelled, and the scythe's whereabouts were long since lost to the sands of time. Eventually, Rodan heard rumor that a demon in Inferno possessed it. The weaponsmith claimed the scythe for himself along with the soul of the demon. The scythe was then given the name of its previous owner, and became an instrument for slaying demons and angels alike. Inferno Slayer is an interesting name because unlike most of the weapons in this game, it does not reference something in mythology or literature and instead refers to in-game lore. Inferno Slayer refers to a merciless lumen sage who would just hunt demons. Because we don't know anything about the demon that had the scythe last, it would be hard to draw a conclusion about its themes. I can draw a comparison with the personification of Death, or the Grim Reaper, who uses his scythe to reap souls like how Inferno Slayer reaped the souls of demons who wandered into villages, but that's a lot of reaching. Earlier in this section, I referred to the snath of Inferno Slayer as green, and by looking at it you can tell what I mean. It turns out there are specific names for parts of a scythe, typically 8. I'll use Inferno Slayer as a guide along with this image. This is the toe, the chine, the beard, the heel, the tang, the ring, the snath, and the grips. For this scythe, the grips are on the side of the snath along with one sticking out for handling. You usually don't see grips on scythes as weapons, so this is a cool thing Bayonetta does. Rusalka is Jeanne's version of Undyne. Rusalka's accents are a shiny silver compared to Undyne's dark gray. The description for Rusalka goes, an infernal weapon containing the souls of lonely water spirits, known as Rusalka, who fail to become brides. The screams of their souls as they escape the machine are at times horrible flames of destruction or blizzards of the coldest temperatures. Rusalki, which is the plural form of the word Rusalka, comes from Slavic folklore and are typically feminine entities associated with water that are sometimes malicious towards mankind. In northern Russia, the Rusalka is known by other names, including the Vadyanitsa, which means she is from the water or the water maiden. The description mentions lonely water spirits who fail to become brides, and I have found the connection to a Vadyanitsa from Russian folklore named Dana. Dana was a beautiful woman who was going to get married, but was drowned by her stepmother who was jealous of her beauty. She became a Rusalka, but her and her groom ended up happily together underwater. So it seems this isn't really a failed bride, but I did find another when I looked 2 inches down on the Wikipedia page named Marina. Marina also ended up with a happy life, just a sad story in between. In the 19th century, they were seen as undead creatures who were women committing suicide by drowning due to an unhappy marriage, but again that requires marriage. Looking up Rusalka in other media describes them to be lonely though, so this is just another version of that. Yagyu is Jeanne's version of Takemikazuchi. It's a massive warhammer that is colored silver and lighter to match Jeanne's aesthetics. The description for Yagyu goes, True to its name, which means wild bull, this enormous hammer houses a charm blessed by the raging bull god, Gozu. Some time ago, Rodan used this hammer during a fight to save a certain planet in crisis. Despite Rodan's fine work, Bayonetta turned down the weapon, not finding the name to her liking. Rodan felt he had no choice but to join the battle himself and put on a personal display of its power. Rodan has since made it more powerful for Jeanne, traveling to Japan to find and affix a new charm. The name Yagyu means bison or buffalo in Japanese, and the name Gozu comes from the Japanese version of Chinese mythology, where two beings named Oxhead and Horseface are guardians of the realm of the dead named Diyu. Together, they capture human souls that are at the end of their mortal life and bring them to the courts of hell, where they will be punished or rewarded based on how they live their lives. Reading the description might sound familiar if you played another Platinum Games title, The Wonderful 101. Bayonetta, Jeanne, and Rodan are playable characters wielding their signature weapons, and Rodan is using a weapon Bayonetta didn't really care about because of its name. I like to wonder about this conversation if Jeanne was just like, yeah sure, I'll take it. This means that Yagyu predates Bayonetta 2 entirely, since within lore it means that the events of the Wonderful 101 happened before this game and after Bayonetta 1. I do think it's funny the description refers to Earth as a certain planet. This is one of my favorite descriptions in the series because of the character interactions that are implied similar to the Chain Chomp description. Agni is Jeanne's version of Salamandra. Agni is colored all silver instead of the dark metal color of Salamandra. The description for Agni goes: chainsaws containing the spiritual energy absorbed from the god who controls all flame. The fire that constantly flows from this weapon transforms into sharp teeth that can sear anything apart. Agni is the name of the Hindu god of fire. Agni is also the Sanskrit word that means fire. Similarly to Salamandra, there's not really much I can say here, but I can point out this comment from one of my older videos that brought up the reference to another Platinum Games title, Mad World. However, I'm sure a lot of you are aware of Jeanne's voice actress Grey Delisle, who also voiced the firebender from Avatar The Last Airbender named Azula. Azula was the princess of the Fire Nation, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. I recommend you watch the show. But what's important about that is that sometimes firebenders challenge each other due to conflicts amongst themselves, or for entertainment in a duel named an Agni Kai. So it's fun that Jeanne wields a weapon named Agni. Although it's probably just a coincidence, but I like to think it isn't, even if it isn't true.
Look at it this way. Could have been worse.
Well, that's all of Jeanne's weapons. But I don't want to finish here because I have some other weapons to mention. The Umbran Sisters are what I imagine to be the standard issue weapons for Umbra Witches, considering all the witch apprentices have it equipped. The description for the Umbran Sisters isn't accessed normally, but within the game files of the first Bayonetta it exists and it goes: magical weapons used in the Umbran martial techniques collectively known as the bullet arts. While resembling a flintlock pistol, the Umbran Sisters have been in use long before the 15th century appearance of the human-crafted flintlocks. Whether it be magical melee attacks or rapid fire via magically apportioned bullets, the Umbran Sisters are capable of fully exploiting their users' magical abilities. You can originally use these weapons in Bayonetta 1 when playing in a flashback, but you can also see them being wielded by Umbra Witch apprentices when traveling to the past in Bayonetta 2. It seems in-universe these weapons are the inspiration for flintlock pistols. However, this game makes an error in time since the first flintlock firearms appeared in the 16th century, and the first true flintlock was in early 17th century in France. The Holy Glaive is Baldur's signature weapon in Bayonetta 2. There is not a lot we know about this weapon since it's only accessible in Tag Climax. A glaive is a European pole arm consisting of a single-edged blade on the end of a pole. It has been argued that glaives originated in Wales, and that it was a national weapon until the end of the 15th century. Because of the definition of a glaive and how a glaive looks like, I believe the Holy Glaive resembles a partisan as well. Partisans are a different polearm used in the 16th to 18th century before being phased out by practical firearms. The Holy Glaive is double-edged and double-bladed. It can detach into 2 Holy Glaives as Baldur attacks, and his combos can end in giant blades coming out of nowhere, it seems. Baldur also has attacks from his boss battles incorporated into his moveset. Baldur's battle robes are made from a divine thread to ward off evil, and the mask he wears allows him to focus on his target. I don't know how, but that's what the game says. I am begging that we get more Lumen Sage stuff someday. Unforgiven were Rosa's signature handguns at the time of her demise. The description for Unforgiven goes: a set of guns found by Rosa after having been long sealed away for being used in the betrayal and injury of an Umbran sister. The set is comprised of 4 individual guns named North, South, East, and West. As they were originally designed for witches, their affinity with magic is strong, and though old, the power of a single shot is immeasurable. However, it goes without saying that these guns, meant only for chosen Umbra, should not be allowed in the hands of one who broke the laws of the clan by loving a Lumen Sage. Though they were returned to Rosa as the clan faced the threat of annihilation, they no longer contain any of their original power. They now exist only as a weapon of the Forsaken, to hold back the disaster that encroaches upon her. Rosa is a powerful witch, and if not for the whole tenant breaking thing, she would probably be a very respected member of the clan. Rosa does triple the damage Bayonetta does with Unforgiven, and like it said in the description, the guns don't contain their original power, so Rosa with her original power and these guns would prove Rosa as a force to be reckoned with. Something else to note is Rosa's robes of banishing. It is made of her hair like Bayonetta's outfit, but doesn't come off when performing climaxes or summoning wicked weaves. The chains she wears inhibit her power, which is why she can't do infernal weaves like Bayonetta or Jeanne. The weapon has a good number of references according to the wiki that I probably would have never thought of. The guns appear to be based on the Colt 1861 Navy revolver, albeit with a more intricate design. Revolvers weren't even around until the early 1800s, so this is another example of the witches inspiring weapons for the future. The names North, South, East, and West could reference the witches who first appeared in the 1900 children's novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, written by L. Frank Baum. The name Unforgiven could reference a film of the same name, released in 1992, directed by, produced by, and starring Clint Eastwood. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I've been meaning to make this for a while, but I had other ideas and still a bunch more, and I'm trying to narrow down and plan how to do them. I appreciate all of your support and comments. I always love reading any extra information or corrections, because I feel like I'm part of a community that likes to bounce back and forth our knowledge, so we can all be better informed on this stuff. I hope you all enjoy Bayonetta 3, and thank you so much for watching.